Many people dream of retiring to a small ranch or farm to raise flowers or animals. But what would you do if you had something that came in the night and stole your flock? Something on two legs. The Mojave Desert might not seem to be a place to be a rancher or farmer, but you'd be surprised at how many people eke out a living doing just that, although you might be surprised at some of the visitors you receive. On the eastern flank of the beautiful Mojave Preserve lived an elderly man in a remote cabin. Over 80 years of age and extremely reclusive, he was able to survive and keep himself fed by raising rabbits. For years, nothing much bothered him, other than having to keep his rabbits caged to protect them from the voracious coyotes and bobcats that frequented the area. But in 2003, he began to have problems. Rabbits would go missing, their cages broken open and smashed. Strange loud howls would be heard in the middle of the previously calm nights, and occasionally small rocks would hit his cabin. Not sure if he was the victim of a prankster or a predator, the old man decided to lay a trap of sorts. Since the cages sat on a cement slab, he was unable to see any tracks, so he decided to sprinkle some flour around the base each night to see if he could catch the culprit literally in his tracks. Finally, after a month of effort, he was rewarded. In the morning, he found one of the cages ripped open, the rabbits missing. But there, in the dust of the flour, lay one good print, a very large print. In fact, what appeared to be a 14-inch long, very man-like footprint, but much thicker and broader than a normal human. Emboldened and concerned by his discovery, the old man decided to make a rare trip to town to buy two things, a shotgun and a game camera. He was going to try and get a picture of the nocturnal raider, and if necessary, in the old man's own words, pepper his hide with a good helping of birdshot. Again, weeks went by with no sign of the Rabbit Snatcher, and other than pictures of curious desert ravens and the occasional coyote, nothing appeared on the game camera. Then one night in April, the old man was woke in the early morning hours by the sound of a loud grunting followed by the crash of a rabbit cage being torn open. Springing to his feet and grabbing the shotgun, he opened the door of his cabin just in time to see a large shadow hunched near the cages. And without hesitating, he raised the shotgun and fired both barrels at the dark shape. A loud scream pierced the night as the birdshot struck home, and the huge shadow fairly leaped in the air and ran off, on two legs, letting out one last anguished howl as it went over a nearby ridge and disappeared into the night. Staying alert the rest of the night, the old man waited, but the thing never came back. In the morning, he checked the game camera and found it had taken one decent picture of what appeared to be the hairy shoulder of a very large animal, but nothing that could readily be identified. And that was the last time the Rabbit Snatcher came calling. The old man showed the picture to a few close friends, one of whom told me the story. But after being ridiculed by his sole remaining family member for being senile, the man refused to discuss the matter anymore and now simply says, "I saw it. It never came back." Believe what you want. Now, I'm sure after hearing all this, you've got a pretty good idea of what the creature might be, or what we might call it. But if you're still asking yourself, what is it? Well, you might have just hit the answer. 100 years earlier, in December of 1900, and about 200 miles away, the locals were having problems with a similar animal. One they had dubbed, appropriately enough, the What Is It? Preying on the hogs of local farmers and ranchers, it would leave large human-like tracks with 5 toes and a very broad width, like a bear's, but much bigger and from an upright bipedal animal. They had never seen anything like it before, and it belonged to no known creature in the area. It was held to be responsible for the deaths of many hogs and was being actively sought by the hunters of the area, but with no luck. It seemed to come and go like a ghost in the night and was never actually sighted. It's a small article, but ends with the statement that the animal that makes the tracks would be one ugly customer if ever met alone on a dark night. So in the end, whether it's called the Rabbit Snatcher or the What Is It, I guess we know who has the last laugh. I'm M.L. Behrman, and I'll see you next time on